Hi there, welcome to your practice. We are going to start this one seated in a chair. And any chair where you can sit comfortably with your feet on the floor, if that's available, will work as long as it's steady. And as you come into your seated position, you can take one hand under one hip, move the skin out and back. Same thing on the other side. So we're going to be experimenting with different options for child's pose in this practice. And we're just going to start with the breath, taking a moment to ground. So you're welcome to close your eyes if that's comfortable for you, or just find something to focus your gaze on in front of you. And let's just take 3 breaths at your own pace. Nothing to do or change. After your 3rd exhale, whenever that comes, you can gently open the eyes if you have the eyes closed. And we're going to add on here, we're going to inhale, take the arms up in front of you. Exhale, bring the arms down. And as you go with this, just notice, where do you start to find a little tension? What does that feel like? Maybe soften around it. Come down. Because we are going to have the arms in this position in child's pose, it's relevant. So we want to start noticing this here before we are in a different relationship to gravity. Maybe I'll just do that one more time here. And then just take a moment. I'm just kind of moving around, experimenting, taking my arms a little wider, have a little more space. And we'll be exploring this more as we get even more into the pose. Now we're going to stay here, slowly start to take the arms down like the top of a capital T. Then we're going to take one hand into the chest and the other hand can stretch back until you find some stretch across the front of the shoulder, into the chest. We different places we each feel it. And if you want to, you can play with this. You can move a little bit. We're just looking for where invites some opening for you. And when you're ready, we'll bring this hand in and we'll extend the other arm. And now you can start to take it back, seeing where is good for you on this side. Maybe you move the arm on this side, maybe you keep it still. When you're ready, we'll bring it back. And now we're going to interlace the hands. So flip the palms away from you. Reach the hands forward as you round the back in the opposite direction. Just breathing here at your own pace. On your next inhale, we'll come up. Exhale, reach the arms out wide. And now we'll switch the interlace of the hand. It's usually the one that feels a little awkward. And we'll reach again. Rounding the back away, breathing right between the shoulder blades. And when you're ready on your next inhale, we'll come up. And exhale, bring the arms down. Now we're going to come to standing. And you may or may not need to move your chair. But we're going to come to stand just a couple inches in front of the chair. We'll inhale, take the arms up again in the same way that we just did from seated. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, we'll come halfway up. Exhale, fold. So we're just working with some half sun salutations with a chair here. On your next inhale, press through the feet, come up. Exhaling, arms by the sides. Let's do that again. Inhale up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, fold. Take a breath here. Your next inhale will come on up. Exhale, arms by the sides. Now we're going to add on. Inhale, arms up. Exhale and fold. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, fold. This time we're going to step the right foot back into a lunge, and the hands can be on the chair seat or gripping the sides. It's going to depend on your chair as well as what feels better for your wrists. Now, in one or more steps, we're going to step the left foot back to meet it. Send the hips back, keeping at least a little bend in the knees. This is a down dog with a chair. We're starting to work with some of the extension through the spine that we will explore more in child's pose. We'll bend the knees, walk in, and when you're ready, come on up. Now, second side. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, fold. Now inhale, step the left foot back this time to a lunge. When you're ready, right foot comes back to meet it, sending the hips back, downward dog. Then we'll bend the knees, slowly walk in and come up. So now we're going to turn the chair to face the wall. And you probably want to start 2 or so feet away from the wall. It'll require a little bit of exploration to see where is the right place for you to be. So we're going to start to work with some more intentional child's pose variations. And there's a few ways to think about this. So one is changing the relationship of the pose to gravity. So we're going to start here in a chair as opposed to how it's often taught, which is on the floor. You can also change up the props that you're using. So here we're using a chair and a wall. And then another way we can explore it is to do a different pose that has a very similar benefit. So we're going to do all of those things in this Playshop. That's why we brought in that word play. So we're going to start here seated with the feet on the ground. And here the legs in the upper body are in a very similar position to what they will be when we try this on the floor. So this is giving us a similar approximation. And now we're going to bring the hands onto the wall. And this might be a good place for you to hold. You could also experiment with scooting back. Maybe you're already further back than I am. And you can come in a little bit differently. So still we want the feet on the ground. Hands are to the wall. This is a great place to practice pressing down underneath the ball of the thumb and the index finger and all of the pads of the fingers. Activating the hands, which can help to protect the wrists. We're also feeling here the ears roughly between the biceps. And I love this version because you get many of the same benefits and it's a little easier to breathe than when you're on the ground. Less belly and chest compression. When you're ready, we will come on up and out of this. Now we're going to come around and you can move your chair. We're not going to use it again unless you want to at some point. And now we will grab 2 blocks. So you can have the blocks on the medium or the high setting to start, wherever you think you might want to. And when you're ready, we're going to inhale again. We're going to take the arms up in this direction. Exhale, fold. So now we're working these half salutes with the blocks, inhaling halfway up. Exhale, fold. And as you're here, if your belly feels compressed, you can always step your feet a little wider to make space. In your next inhale, we'll press through the feet. Come on up. Exhale, arms down. Now we'll add on, inhale up. Exhale and fold. Inhale, we'll come halfway up. Exhale, fold. Now inhale, we're going to step the right foot back into the lunge. If the belly feels compressed on the left, you can move the belly to the middle. And then step the left foot back to meet it. Down dog here with the blocks. Now we're going to slowly lower one and then the other knee or both knees at the same time to the ground. Now you have your blocks here, so you can play with them. We're going to experiment with a child's pose. Step them forward a bit, and then I like to take the knees wider to make space for the belly. So the big toes are coming towards each other in the back. And then you can start to send the hips back. Now, especially with the hands up, the head may not come to the ground. And in some ways, I think that's preferable. You have more space to breathe, but you do need to activate the arms, by which I mean have a little bend in the elbows. And then you can come up. So this is a nice option, particularly if you are working with a more active flow, where you're not going to be getting out all of your props. So we're just going to come back to a forward bend. When you're ready, we'll press through the feet. Come on up. Exhale, arms down. Now we'll do that again, second side. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale halfway up. Exhale and fold. Now left foot steps back to the lunge. Right foot can step back to meet it. And then one, the other knee, gently come down. Take the knees wider, bring the toes more towards each other. And come back. Another option I like for child's pose is to bring elbows onto the blocks and sit back. So hands could touch, or you can just leave them in a position that's comfortable for you. This brings it even into more of a chest opener. Then you can come on up and then just come around to seated for a moment. So we're going to do a few options, and I'm going to show them, and it's up to you. You can try them with me, and or you might want to just watch this part and then go back and do it with me. So up to you. So option one is going to have blanket under the knees. And so that's just to add some support. And you could do that with the one that we just showed, with the blocks, or with any of the options. You might also find you have support under your knees if you have, for example, as I do here, two mats laid on top of each other. So the first option I'm going to show here is also one you can do if you're doing it in the midst of a more active practice, which is another way to create some space for belly, for chest, and for breath. So we have the blanket under the knees for support. Knees are wide, big toes are coming towards each other. And now you can take the hands down, bring the forehead to a block. This is just creating a bit of space for you. And then another option, this one would be when you have a little bit more time, is to do Maybe you'll have the block under the forehead, maybe not. Bolster is going to come onto the heels and give you something to rest your bum onto. So knees are wide, blanket, bolster, come down. This is another option for an arm position, which is to have the elbows bent. It can create less strain on the wrist and or elbow because you don't have the arm fully extended. So these are all things to play with because there's no perfect combination for any particular body. It's really playing with them and finding, okay, if I do this plus this is working for me pretty well. And then you can try that on any given day and see, to what degree is it working and to what degree do you want to shift it a little bit. So now we're going to do one that I talked about earlier, which is doing a different pose with a similar benefit. So you can come to sit on your blanket or your bolster. We'll take the legs wide, bring the blocks in front of you. If you like, you can move the belly to the middle. And we're going to inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, come forward into a forward bend. So here you're getting that similar action for the hip. And you can even bring the hands forward to get the extension through the spine here. So again, not the same pose, but we're looking for what are some similar benefits, has a different relationship to gravity. This is also one you could bring in if you were doing it in a more active practice. So now we're going to come to lie down. And you can have all your props nearby. You're going to bring the strap around the ball of the right foot to start. And we'll lay down. Knees are bent. You might like to just rock the knees a little side to side. And when you're ready, you'll just get that strap and bring the leg up. We're just bringing a little opening to the back of the leg here. And you can take both sides of the strap into the right hand. We'll open the leg out to the right. And if you find something as I did on this side, the wall, you're welcome to use that. And we'll come on back. Switch both sides of the strap into the other hand. Sort of cross the leg across the body until you feel an outer hip stretch. So sometimes we take this over for a twist. Today, we're not doing that. Just saying hello to that outer hip. When you're ready, we're going to come back to center, and then either up here or bringing the legs down, we're going to switch off. So bring the other leg to meet. And now we'll work with the left leg. So we're working the leg gently towards straight. When you're ready, we'll take both sides of the strap into the left hand, open the leg out. When you're ready, we'll come back to center. Switch both sides into the right hand, start to cross the leg across the body. And we'll come back to center. Now we're going to bring the right leg up to meet. Take the legs wider than hip distance. And we're going to bend the knees. I like to wrap the strap around my hands down towards the body. So here we are in yet another variation of child's pose in a different relationship to gravity. So the legs are in a very similar position. But here, obviously, we have lots of space for breath, and there's less chest and belly compression. So if you like, maybe you want to extend the legs. You could rock a little side to side. And when you're ready, you can come on back to center. We'll just gently release one foot and then the other foot on down. You can set the strap beside you. You might want to have a block nearby. We're moving towards our relaxation, and we're going to start with a reclined twist. So you can press through the feet here and just shift the hips over an inch or two. And you can drop the knees over from here, or if you prefer, you can hug the knees in first and then bring them over. Either way, the block is there. So if your bottom knee doesn't come down comfortably, you can prop it. Same for the top. We're just going to hold here for a little while. If the chest and or neck are feeling compressed at all, you can always bring your hand and move the skin. Take 3 more breaths here. For your third exhale, we'll slowly come back to center, shifting the hips back to center. And you can bring your block over to the other side if you were using that. We'll press through the feet, scoot the hips over, and then your choice for how you'd like to bring them into the twist. Seeing what support, if any, you might like on this side, with blocks or anything else you have. And again, we'll just let ourselves rest in here. Let's take 3 more breaths here. Just taking your time. After your third exhale, whenever that comes, you can release the block if you had it between the knees. And then just let yourself roll fully onto this side. And you can come on up to seated. Our last option here, so you can do any sort of restorative position you might like. I'm just going to show a child's pose version. So you have your bolster in front of you. You can have your blanket on top. And then you take the knees wide. The bolster is kind of in front of, or could even be between the knees. And then you come forward. So if you're wearing glasses, you probably want to take them off. And then I'm going to keep my head up just so you can hear me. But you could bring the forehead straight down, or you might like to just turn the head to the side. And if having the bolster flat on the ground like this is not comfortable, another option could be to prop it with a block underneath and lift it up a little bit. So there you have a bit more height, and you may or may not want the blanket under your head. So we'll just stay wherever you are a little while longer. Let's take 5 more breaths here. After your 5th exhale, just take a moment to notice how you feel. And you can start to make any movements you like, beginning to gently bring yourself up and out, around to seated. And you can just be in any comfortable seated position for you. We'll bring hands together in front of the heart. You can take them up to the forehead. May I think of myself with kindness. To the eyes, may I see myself with compassion. To the mouth, may I speak to myself with love. And to the heart, to seal it in, we'll inhale and exhale. Thank you for practicing with me.